You seem cool. Richard, you seem cool. How you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
So the thing I love about you is your TikToks caught my eye as well as the world. Very, very funny stuff where you basically are just making fun of language, the English language.
So we've got cats. What about more than one dog? Dogs. Going with the S again, consistent. And what about mouse? Mouses? Mice. What? Mice. Okay. And sheep. 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 The plural of sheep is sheep. Yeah. Right, that's a lot. What about goose? Gooses, just to keep it nice and simple. Geese. Of course, but at least that means mooses. Moose. Yeah, goose, geese, moose, meese. Moose. 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 Oh, like sheep. Moose, moose.
Yeah, I've been having a great time, and it's been a huge surprise for me as well. It's not something I really kind of courted. It was really something I just started during lockdown, and just to entertain myself, really. And then all of a sudden, it went viral, and yeah, lots of people seem to want more, which is great.
It's great. I mean, and there seems to be no lack of source of content for you. I mean, the stuff you find out. So I want to talk to you a little bit about like the process of it. So do you have a really good vocabulary, or do you know a lot about like what they call animal packs or layers?
I know nothing about the animal kingdom whatsoever. I can be quite verbose, for want of a better word, in that, like, I've always had a love of language, and people often come to me if they need a name for a show, or if they need for a particular product that they want to launch, or something quite snappy. But I do have to do an awful lot of research in these little skits. And I'm quite flattered when people watch them that they think that I'm just making this up off the top of my head. Like,
you come across very brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm like, no, there's a lot of research that goes into it, first of all. But yeah, in terms of getting the ideas, I was really amazed at the response from people. And in the comment section, they then start pointing out things and making requests. And I was like, yeah, okay.
That's fun. So you kind of crowdsource, which is good, actually, because you're not only educating people, you're giving them homework.
Absolutely, yeah. But I was trying to avoid it. I didn't want it to feel like a TED talk. It's like, because I'm not an expert, and B, I'm trying to create jokes around it.
Right.
And I'm also trying to make sure that each joke is new. Otherwise, it's essentially the same video. So I'm trying to make a different joke around that relationship between those two guys.
I think they're super well crafted. I really do. I think they're, and this is coming from a professional comedian. So
exactly, yeah, I'm hugely flattered. Thank you.
Yeah, but you definitely have some. Theatrical, right? You have a theatrical background and stuff, right?
Yeah, so I've got a performance background. So I trained at the University of Plymouth, but I didn't really study theatre until I went to university. But even then, it was just a minor subject. It's always been a bit of an interest of mine. I then did a master's degree in drama and performance, but it's all very much kind of analysing theatre rather than performing it. And so I'm actually a teacher as well. I teach theatre at the UK's only dedicated residential arts centre.
What's the age group of those the kids in the school?
Oh, all sorts. So I think the youngest we've had were like 8-year-olds, right the way through to adults and people who are training to be teachers.
Oh.
And I've been doing that for like 15 years.
Oh, wow. So you're still getting used to
it. Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm just finding my feet. But then outside of that, I do perform in cabaret shows. So I'm the host on the compere. So I'm the first person out on stage to kind of welcome the audience, get them all settled in, and I introduce all the acts.
That's phenomenal. Because I see you have the mustache for it. You have the facial features for it. It's very good. Do you wear a top hat?
I have a top hat, and I've worn them in the past. I don't really have a kind of set look, but I've got that kind of red jacket, top hat, greyish shirt.
I mean, you got a top hat kind of vibe going on. I'm just telling you, I'm not a hat guy, but I know what a head could pull off a hat, and that head right there is a top hat head.
Definitely. And also my fez made an appearance in a couple of the TikToks that I made as well.
Yes. And don't shy away from a bowler either, Richard. I think you could really pull off a bowler.
It's difficult with the big round face, you see. I need one that are going to elongate rather than accentuate the moon face.
I can't wear hats because it brings out my multiple chins. So I have to try to hide it all underneath, tuck it underneath.
You could get yourself a beard. It hides a multitude of things.
I could grow something. I'm jealous of how glorious that could be. I wonder if I could grow it over my belly.
Can Me too.
Right. So the name that you use on TikTok, your handle is very awesome. Stage Door Johnny.
Yeah. So obviously my name is Richard, but I perform in the cabaret world as Stage Door Johnny, because very often performers will have a kind of name that's a pun. And it's actually, I heard it in the film Blazing Saddles. So
Which is my favorite movie.
Ah, amazing.
I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when Lily Von Stupp is singing I'm Tired, she sings Stage Door Johnny's constantly surround me. They always hound me with one request. And I was like, that's it. That's the name, because it's got a name in it. So I was like, I'm having that.
That's so
and it's
great.
been there ever since. So I perform under that name.
Oh wow! So you're also in the films, a lot of film stuff, because I did notice one of my other favorite TikToks you do is where you did the like you analyze the films and ask proper questions, and you did one for one of my favorite movies, Love Actually.
Unanswered questions about the film Love Actually. Why is Billy Mack recording a Christmas song 5 weeks before Christmas?
So there's something that really bothers me about Love Actually. Google for me the guy. What's the name of the actor who played the sheriff in The Walking Dead? He's now
Andrew Lincoln.
Andrew Lincoln. Okay, thanks. So you don't have to Google it. He knows everything. Okay. So my favorite thing about Andrew Lincoln in Love Actually is he's one of my favorite actors, but the amount of overacting in the part when she comes over to get the wedding tape, when Keira Knightley comes over to get the wedding tape and he leaves all distraught. Right. And he is like, he's got the big turtleneck zipper on and he's walking around the streets and he gets all. But my favorite part is there's a moment when he gets outside and he has to he yells out, he's like, ah, and does one of those. And it's a gentleman, an extra, who is walking in the back with a shopping bag. And he does a full flip out, but it looks like something straight out of a Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes cartoon. He does whoa, like one of those. I rewatch it. I have a tradition with my wife. We watch it every year for Christmas. Right. We watch it every year. Yeah. So every time we literally watch that 4 to 5 times, rewinding it. I've seen that one moment at least hundreds of times.
Definitely. Yeah. It's certainly got problematic moments. Because I know that a lot of people think about Andrew Lincoln kind of basically stalking them. Yes. But there's romance.
The Prime Minister just goes around ringing doorbells. Nobody sees a problem with this.
Yeah,
she's not. Also, she worked at Buckingham Palace. They don't have her address on some sort of employee card.
No, totally fine.
When were they sending her paychecks?
But they think she's fat. They call her the chubby girl. Like,
yes. What? Would we call her chubby?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
So you're a jack of all trades. You're a Stage Door Johnny of all trades here. You also have an Etsy shop.
Oh yeah. So as part of again during lockdown, because of the pandemic, everything that I did creatively just stopped. So I often direct shows for amateur theatre companies. I perform at cabaret shows and all of our teaching. All of those things just stopped. Right. And so I found myself just completely at a loss, really. So I wanted to keep my creative juices going. And I got into designing art, effectively, word art, based around kind of musical theatre shows. So so I set up this Etsy store of Break a Leg Sweetheart. But that's another thing that's really kind of blown my mind, in the fact that there's somebody in Australia that owns something that I designed on my iPad here, and it's up on their wall. It just, because obviously I'm not a visual artist, but now I kind of guess I am.
That's great. Yeah, you're a little bit of everything. That's what I really love. Yeah. The pandemic really did bring everybody to do things. I made a book during the pandemic. I'm not an author, but I love photography. So I took a picture of all my dogs and I made a book called The Dog Father. And I basically took pictures of all my rescue pups and told stories about them, whatever. It came out to a 50-page thing, and I put it on Amazon. And during the pandemic, now I'm an author.
Yeah, exactly.
Being stuck in your house, especially in the UK, for as long as you've done pretty well. I'm proud of you, Richard.
Thanks.
I was correct. You seem cool, and I was right. You are cool. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.